You called your mother the day it happened. You expected tears or silence or the kind of shock people describe in movies. Instead, she laughed. A short, disbelieving laugh followed by, "Okay, very funny. What do you actually want to tell me?" You weren't joking. The money was real. More zeros than you'd ever seen attached to your own name. And the first person you told didn't believe a single word. This is what happens after the money arrives overnight. And the people who've known you longest are the last ones to catch up. 24 hours earlier, you were exactly who you'd always been. Same apartment, same complaints about work, same seat at the family table, the reliable but unremarkable one. Not the sibling anyone was betting on. That matters because families build a model of who you are early, usually before you've become anyone at all. That model calcifies. It doesn't update just because your life did. So when the facts stop matching the model didn't move first. Your mother wasn't rejecting you on that call. She was rejecting a version of reality her 20-year-old picture of you couldn't hold. If you'd built a business slowly over 15 years, your family would have watched the climb, updating who you were 1 year at a time. By the time the payoff came, it would feel earned, almost expected. Overnight money skips all of that. One day you're the same person. The next, by every financial measure, you're not. And nobody around you had time to catch up. Psychologists call this sudden wealth syndrome, usually describing how it affects the recipient. Almost nobody talks about how it fractures the people around them. Your family didn't have access to your bank statement or your internal reality. All they had was disbelief, because disbelief was the only response that didn't require rebuilding 20 years of assumptions overnight. They didn't think you were lying, believing you meant admitting they'd misjudged you for a very long time. Your mother came around. A bank transfer will do that. Your uncle didn't. In his mental map, people like you don't end up with money like that. Not overnight, not without a story he recognized. So he built one, a scam, something illegal, something that would collapse and embarrass everyone. None of it was said to your face. It moved sideways, through cousins, through gossip that traveled faster than any fact could. You learned something that stuck with you for years. People don't want the truth if the truth is inconvenient. A scam cost your uncle nothing to believe. My nephew, who I never took seriously, is now worth more than I'll ever make. Cost him his entire framework for measuring his own life. You weren't fighting disbelief about money. You were fighting a family's refusal to feel small. So you tried to prove it. A screenshot, faked, someone said. A bank statement, maybe temporary. A nicer dinner. Must be a loan, they said. And irresponsible to flaunt it. This is the trap. You think more evidence fixes disbelief. It doesn't. When the disbelief isn't about logic, it's about identity. Nobody was evaluating your bank statement. They were deciding whether they could let go of who they thought you were and what that said about them by comparison. Social comparison theory explains it simply. People measure their worth against those closest to them. A stranger's wealth threatens nothing. A sibling's, a nephew's, someone who sat at the same table wearing the same unremarkable role for 20 years. That threatens the whole structure the family built its self-image on. You stopped trying to prove it by month 3. Their disbelief was never about your account, it was about theirs. Then belief arrived, but not as an apology, as a calculation. A cousin who never called started checking in. An aunt mentioned a medical bill out of nowhere. Your uncle, 6 months after calling it a scam, suddenly wanted in on whatever you're doing. Nobody said it out loud, but the question in every head had quietly shifted from, is this real, to what does this mean for me? Here's the part nobody tells you. The disbelief, painful as it was, had protected you. Nobody asks a broke person for money. The moment belief arrived, so did the requests, wrapped in concern, in just this once, in the language families use when love and money get tangled, and nobody wants to admit which one is actually talking. The real lesson wasn't about money, it was about roles. Somewhere along the way, your family had decided how much of you there was, not based on ability, but on the part they'd unconsciously cast you in. Reliable, unremarkable. Not the ambitious one, not the smart one, not the lucky one. Those roles belonged to someone else. When the money came overnight, it didn't just challenge their belief in your account. It challenged the entire cast list. And people protect the story before they protect the truth, because the story is what makes the family feel stable. You weren't angry once you understood that, just quieter, because now you knew exactly where the ceiling on their belief in you had always been. Not everyone doubted you, though. One person believed you almost instantly. No interrogation, no theory about scams, just, okay, that's incredible. What are you going to do with it? That question meant more than anything else you heard that year. It wasn't about proving the past, it was about the future. And it cost that person nothing to offer. You learned who was worth keeping close as your life changed. Not the ones demanding evidence, but the ones already asking what came next. Wealth can change your bank account in a single transaction. It cannot change in that same instant 20 years of assumptions someone else built about who you are. You're not angry at your family anymore. Their disbelief was never really about you. It was about the story they needed to keep telling themselves. The money was real from the first morning. It just took them a lot longer to catch up to a version of you they never planned for.